But let's move on into our final topic, and we are talking about da bullsh. And the thing we're talking about here is something we've already mentioned before on the fast break in our point guards, but obviously it's not a Chicago podcast, so we couldn't go into in-depth about it. We could just talk about, was it Chris Dunn who we put in those rankings?
It was.
Go check them out. I'll put them above our heads in the video. But the question I want to answer today is who should be the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls? And the way I want to answer this question is by two fronts.
Okay.
The first one is who should be the starting point guard for the Bulls right now.
Yep.
And if that changes by the end of the year, the second question we'll answer is who should ultimately be. Like if it's one where, hey, it's going to be Chris Dunn, but then it goes into Kobe White, we'll then answer that. But Dave, I'm going to go to you first. Right now, to start the season, who should be our point guard for the Bulls?
100% should be Chris Dunn. Like I know a lot of people are excited by Kobe White, and every reason to be. He played an incredible season in college. His time at North Carolina was well spent under an excellent head coach in Roy Williams. But he was a piece of a system there, and when they leaned on him, he was able to meet some expectations, but there's still clearly some faults in his game, and he really needs to grow quite a bit in my mind as far as being a floor general. You know, he can score, he can shoot from the outside, not in Summer League apparently, because he literally could not hit the side of a barn. But this was a guy who seems to have all the right tools. He's got decent enough size. He's got good athleticism. He's quick. It's just he doesn't really know how to run an offense in my mind yet. So I want him to sit 1 year, or at least a majority of this year, behind Chris Dunn, unless Chris Dunn really falters. I think we did see a lot of good things out of Chris Dunn growing in the past couple of years. His time with the Timberwolves, I've pretty much thrown away as a wash. That was a Tom Thibodeau failure of an experiment. His time with the Bulls, really we've seen him kind of, he's still not as good as I expect him to be coming out of college, which he was incredible his senior year in college, and there was a lot of hope there for that offensive game translating. But what we've ended up with out of him is an above-average defender, a guy with a really high IQ on the court, but he does have a limited offensive skill set. And I kind of find myself looking at this situation. He's, a worse version of Ricky Rubio, basically. He's still able to provide for this offense and make sure things keep running, but he's not selfish, and he doesn't need to be selfish out there because we've got so much offensive talent.
And I agree with you. If we're talking from a strictly talent base and performance on who will give you the best starting point guard, it's Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn, I think, has the most talent when it comes to at least guys that you can put in right now and perform at an NBA point guard level. I think Chris Dunn has that talent. However, I think the biggest thing that is going to hurt Chris Dunn, and the reason why I'm kind of coming off of him being the starting point guard for the Chicago Bulls to start the season and even to end the season, is there's so much talk about him not just wanting to be here. There's a lot of talk of him not meshing well with Garpax and not being a part of the summer training because he just doesn't want to be there. Like he doesn't want to act. He doesn't want to show up. He doesn't want to put in the work that is necessary for him to get to the point that he can be the starting point guard. Casey Johnson of the I think Sun-Times or Tribune, one of them, great writer for the Bulls. He said he'd be shocked if he was even in the starting, if he was a part of this team, by the start of the season. Like Chris Dunn just seems apparently checked out. And that's something that I think is going to hurt him in the end. It's just because he's not going to be a motivated participant in this lineup. And have we not heard that from Jim Boylan, that you need to be motivated? Yeah. You need to be there. You need to be a guy that I could rely on, or
you
whatever.
Need to be a Boylan brother.
I can't be a Boylan guy or a Boylan impersonator.
Yeah.
But we want this guy who, we see this guy with so much passion and love for the game, or whatever, if you want to call it. But a guy with a lot of passion and a loud voice, at least. And he's always talking about, just being there. And I don't know if Chris Dunn's there. And from a talent perspective, I think he is, but I don't think he wants to be in Chicago. And I think that's going to be the reason, number one, why he isn't the starting point guard for the Bulls.
Yeah, the Chris Dunn experience, or the experiment, whatever you want to call it at this point, I think
it's been an experience.
Yeah.
I don't think you could say it's an experiment. Because experiment
means it's a Chris Dunn project. like the
That's
Alan
closer.
Parsons project.
That's closer. Yeah, that's closer. I would say that, if it was an experiment, that'd be like, trying Justice Winslow at the point guard. That would be the experiment.
we're
You're testing something out.
well.
We're experiencing you because you were a part of the Jimmy Butler trade, and we really wanted to draft Lauri Markkanen.
I think it was more of a project because
It was a reclamation project.
Yeah,
he
'cause
struggled mightily.
he was
rookie year.
a top 5 pick. Obviously, we talked about the
His
success
time
he
in
had
college
at
was
Providence.
incredible.
I mean, he was definitely a guy that had it. You just need to put it together, and he hasn't put it together, and that was the project part of it.
There's a little part of me that feels bad for him this year. And the reason why is I remember, I'm going to throw out a shout out to, went to high school with him. He hit me up on Facebook early in June, Jake, who was like, listen to the podcast, like great podcast, wanted to talk Bulls with me. And he brought up Chris Dunn. And the thing he would continually bring up is, well, what if like Chris Dunn takes the next step this year, gets better this year? And this was like around June 8th. So obviously it was well before the draft. We didn't have Kobe White at this point. But like now that we have Kobe White, I almost like, we've got Kobe. We bring in Tom, our boy Tom Saturansky, because I guess we can call him Tom now. Yeah, Zatarans.
Why are you talking about that Saturansky kid?
We bring in him. We bring in Kobe White. We bring back Ryan Arcidiacono. I kind of feel like this is going to be a crowded point guard position to where is Chris Dunn going to, like, Sean brings up a great point. Does he want to be here?
Yeah.
But also, is he going to have the opportunities to take a next step? Or is this kind of become the project of like, well, you know what? Your contract's up at the end of the year. We'll probably look to trade you for a team that wants it expiring, or we're just going to let you walk at the end of the year. Because I think Kobe White might be the development into the point guard position.
Yeah.
But I think the guy to do it, to start right now, is got to be Saturansky. And the reason why I say that is you look at last year, and I know it's because of the John Wall injury, he started 54 games last year.
Correct.
And I look at it, and it's like, I know he's a Swiss Army knife that can play the 1, 2, or 3. But it's like we've got Zach and Otto, and do we want Saturansky on the second unit? I think we can just let the second unit maybe be Chris Dunn and Kobe, and then Kobe can kind of be more of the two up front, but then position him or grow, I'll say, into being the point guard and be the backup point guard by the end of the season to be the starting point guard next season.
I think the ways that we saw Kobe White have the most success in college was with the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he can really be a true two guard in that sense. Mm-hmm. He's obviously a two guard in the way he scores and the way he slashes and, and the way he attacks the basketball and how he goes about his scoring per se.
Is it a John situation though? He's only a two because he's guarding twos.
No, he's a two because he can't. I don't think he's capable of running an offense yet.
Okay.
So I think when you see Kobe White at Kobe White's best, he will be a one. But right now, I think he's coming in as a two, just the way he scores and the way he goes about his offensive game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think there is that knowledge of how to truly be a point guard yet. And it's more of this is a guard that has good ball handling skills, great speed, a knack for scoring the basketball, but he doesn't know how to run an offense yet. And that's the biggest thing that you're really going to deal with in taking these young players. I mean, he's only had a year of college.
Exactly.
And he's never been in a true system, an NBA-like system. He's spent a lot of times, when he is coming up, he's spending it in AAU and in high school ball. He's not learning from guys like Roy Williams, for a large majority of his career. He spent
a couple months.
Year. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, he's spent a couple months with Roy Williams, so he hasn't had the full exposure to what it means to be a point guard. Where Chris Dunn has had multiple years in the NBA. He spent multiple years in college. He's had that experience. So I think when you see that second unit, you're going to either see Kobe White run off screens when Chris Dunn is running the point. I am really questioning whether Chris Dunn's going to be here, but let's say he is. I think you're probably going to see if Chris Dunn's running the ball and running the point, then you're going to see Kobe White mostly used as a screener and trying to get him open to create in space. Or you're going to see Kobe White handle the ball and he's going to run the offense, and you're going to see Chris Dunn as a spot-up shooter.
Let me ask this, though, because you played into this. Dave, I'm going to shoot this at you then.
I mean,
let's say Kobe White stays as the backup two, and Chris Dunn's the backup point guard. Is then there a possibility that through the season, let's say Chris Dunn doesn't get leaps and bounds better, that this team goes, you know what? Chris Dunn, you're not the backup point guard. Archie is. And Archie Diacono overtakes him
an incredible shooter, though,
as the backup point guard.
Well,
is
that's
the
thing
big knock on Chris Dunn.
I think that you could see a lot of rotations with Archie and Dunn. Or Archie and White. I think that would be the two that I would pair together. Because you obviously bring up the shooting aspect, but also, I mean, Archie Diacono plays hard. He's hard-nosed.
He's an effort kid.
He could play defense. So I think that's one thing, too.
Lunchbox kid.
It's scrappy.
And save the ball from going out of bounds.
That was an incredible play live. I will never,
But with that, I mean, I would look to see that as more of a pairing. Satoransky's just going to be interesting just because of, how he will fit in this lineup.
No, I fully see us being able to run, 3-guard system similar to how the Clippers did last year with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Pat Bev, and having
can't forget the Rockets,
Shamet.
too.
And
Chris Paul, Harden, and Gordon.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's just, I can see us being able to do that because of this flexibility. The biggest thing comes down to, like you said, is Chris Dunn how is he going to react to being challenged? Having 2 guys brought in basically and saying, your job's not safe. And there's only 2 ways it happens. Like you said, he can either pull himself out of there mentally, not be as prepared as he should be, not be trained as hard as he should be, and show up without effort, expecting to still play, or he's going to take it as a challenge and meet it, rise to the occasion, and we're going to see the best version of Chris Dunn yet. And I think that's what I'm hoping for. I'm expecting this. You're saying you're hearing a lot of negatives about his current, I don't want to say mental state, but his current outlook on the Bulls, seemingly negative. So I don't know. I'm still hopeful that this kid can figure it out and put it together for the Bulls, but I absolutely can see us pulling the trigger on a trade. We've shown that there's no need to be overly loyal to these players because it is a players' league, and if you can get value for a contract that is expiring for someone who is still on their rookie deal, you go do it. You pull the trigger on that deal because this is a team where we could be looking at playoff expectations this year. And if he's not the right fit, and if you don't want a bad mentality in the locker room and he's giving off a bad vibe, then you want to get yourself clear of that situation as soon as possible. Yeah,
he entirely screams change of scenery. I think he could 100% be one of those guys that if he falls into the right spot, he can really grow into his own player. But I don't think Chicago is the place for him. Whether that just be bad start with having Fred Hoiberg and then getting having Fred Hoiberg fired and then him dealing with the injuries that he's dealt with and maybe just not getting along with Garpax in general. It just does not seem like Chris Dunn's in the future for this team. So while I think if we're talking again about what lineup would look best out there, I think that lineup would involve Chris Dunn to start the season. I just don't think it's going to happen, just due to lack of bonding there with culture.
We're singing the same thing, doo-doo. But
Adults.
I just very much adult.
You gonna be 30?
Yep.
Both of us.
Go
yes.
Bears.
But that's just the thing of I feel like if Chris Dunn is out there day one, then it either means we don't trust Satoransky to be at the one yet because he's new to the team.
I think it's more exactly. that. I don't think it's trust. I think it's just more of getting him acclimated.
Yeah,
I think you could frame that a little bit better because trust seems like a bad word. We don't trust him.
Good point.
He's new to this system where
Dave
Chris
said,
Dunn's had time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Chris Dunn already has a relationship with the guys on the team too. Thinking about this from a paper fit, you want someone with his defensive capabilities to be next to Zach LaVine. You have to try to balance out those deficiencies where Zach's an incredible athlete, incredible scorer.
We need a passer out there too. And Chris Dunn's that.
Yeah, Chris Dunn can pass and play defense. And that's essentially the hey, we found, we've got a complete guard here. And I think it works out.
can pass though too, right?
Satoransky's an okay facilitator.
They only had 1 assist per game difference, I believe.
Yeah, but it's not when it comes down to assists.
I mean, it's a different system, like Dave said.
Much different system, yeah. But no, I think where it's different is that Chris Dunn is just active hands, active defense, and when he gets on the offensive end, he's not taking a shot. He's reluctant to shoot, I'll put it that way. And when he does shoot, it's usually not a great shot, I'll be honest. His shot selection, he floats into the mid-range, and then it gets interesting because a lot of the times I feel like he ends up with the ball when he really shouldn't, later in the clock, and he just feels the need to force it because, the easy pass isn't there, so I got to make it happen. I'm you are not the guy to make it happen. I'm sorry. Yeah. We have Zach LaVine. By all means, find a way to get that man the ball because he is clutch. So
I think too, with Chris Dunn, and you talk about the last second shots and all that stuff. I think it might be set off a little bit now that Markkanen's getting a little bit older, and Levine's kind of found himself a little bit more as a scorer. Chris Dunn didn't play a ton in the Jim Boylan system as that point guard because he was dealing with injuries. So I think if
44 games.
if he sets, even then, some of those were Hoiberg games too, right?
I'm checking out
because I forget when Hoiberg was fired because it was the Celtics game was the next one, right?
I think.
Yeah, because the Celtics where they lost by like 52 points was
the majority of those games were
were Boylan
December on.
Okay,
So,
all right, I was wrong.
He missed
about
a chunk in the beginning of the season.
What did he miss for? Do you remember? Because he wasn't coming over the face thing still, right?
I honestly at this point have put it out of my mind.
Because I remember he broke his face on the floor. But I think. One thing, he was coming off injury, so it wasn't directly. He was still used to a Hoiberg system. I just think in the end, like you're gonna have better scorers out there, you're gonna have better players out there to rely on, and they'll probably be able to draw more attention to yourself, where you might be getting those late second shot clock shots, but they'll be better open looks where you don't have to create too much for yourself because Zach has been able to get himself more attention drawn to him because he is such a
he's established himself.
He's a good scorer. We especially see the start that he got off to where he's dropping 30 every single game. Markkanen, same thing. If Markkanen's healthy out there and he's not dealing with the chronic injuries or at least somewhat chronic injuries that he's been dealing with, he's a guy that can score as well. So I think it's all about just getting more quality looks for Chris Dunn. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to be on this team, and I think that's the biggest thing that I keep on to go on to is, you asked the question, who's going to be the starting point guard, and then who's going to end as a starting point guard. I think we can question that, if Chris Dunn's on this team, it's probably going to be Chris Dunn. But we don't think Chris Dunn's going to be on this team by the end of the season. So at the end of the season, what does this look like?
You're thinking he gets traded by like the trade deadline? He's
at the latest, it has to be the trade deadline. I don't think he's on this team in February.
I don't think, and yet again, I don't think the Bulls are going to be looking for a trade unless there's like a big injury until the trade deadline when things start ramping up and it's like, all right, we've got an expiring contract that looks
but if a guy doesn't want to be there, then you don't want to have him out there, especially if he's going to be detrimental to this team like Zach LaVine.
Sprain. MCL sprain.
But if Dunn doesn't want to be there, then why the hell would you have him there?
And
he's not a necessity of this team. He doesn't need to be on this team. So if he doesn't want to be in this team, get him out of there. Like he's just going to be a cancer to this locker room. Get the fuck out.
And that kind of leads, and this is almost going to be a stupid question, I think, in my head because of what you said is...
There's stupid things. There's no stupid questions.
There's a part of me that thinks, do the Bulls as an organization deserve to give Chris Dunn one last chance to show us what he's got? Like, show us what he's got, show us how you can improve. Do they owe it to him to give him that chance, or should it be more of all right, it's not cutting it out. We're going to slash your minutes because we've got Satoransky, we got Archie Diacono, we got Kobe White, who can soak up those point guard minutes, and you'd probably want to give more to White and develop his game because he's a rookie in the future.
I'll answer this first, and then Dave, you can take it. I don't think they owe him anything because I don't think any team owes any player anything, and I don't think any player owes any team anything. I think that's a weird thing to phrase it. I just think it's, does Chris Dunn want to take it? Because even if they offer him, like, hey, we'll let you be the starter, I don't know if Chris Dunn even wants that. Okay. I don't know if he wants Chicago. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think he wants to be here. I think that's the reason why I don't think he's going to be on this team is because I think he's just going to be like, yeah, get me the fuck out of here. I don't want to be around Jim Boylan anymore. I don't want to be around Garpax. I want to get a fresh start. I think that's what it comes down to. And that's why I don't think he's going to be here in February. I don't think it's anything with his play style or fitting with the starting lineup. I think it's strictly about him wanting to be here, and I do not think he wants to be here.
What do you think, Dave?
I think it's worth keeping him around at least to start the year to see where he comes in at, because when he came back from that injury right away, like the first dozen games he was back, he's putting up over 15 points a game, 7 assists, 5 boards, steal and over a steal and a half a game. Like he was legitimately on it, and that's the thing. And at the time, you have to look at who else was out during that time because we were basically rotating bodies in and out of that roster all season. But the point being, like when you have a guy who can come back and play that efficiently, and I mean 7 assists, 2.3 turnovers a game, like that's a solid ratio. It's not Monty Morris level, but you know it's pretty good. I want to see him get another shot at it. I really do. I think let him start the season. If he establishes himself and if he rises to the challenge of, look, your position's not safe. Because, like, worst case scenario, hey, guess what? Denzel Valentine's a no-show again. We've got Kobe White to play backup 2-guard. Oh, 3. We need someone
Denzel
at the
also
3.
sucks, too.
Chandler Hutchinson can't rise to the occasion. Guess what? We've got Satoransky. Like, we've got flexibility. And that's a good problem to have.
And you even talk about the flexibility and not bringing up these positions as well. You look at the 4 and the 5. Jesus Christ! I mean, you just I love this Thaddeus Young addition.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives you so much flexibility at that 4 and 5.
Absolutely. So my money is, or my wish is that we keep him around, start the season. Where's his mind at? Where's his play at? And if everything lines up, I'm fine with it. I'm not, if he has like a weirdly positive season, I don't think we, drop the bank and give him a ton of money. But like, I think we offer him a small extension. Like, don't Felicio the deal, but give him something and see if he sticks around on like a prove it deal. Give him a 2-year, see what happens. But I don't want to ship him out unless we really have to because of either locker room cancer or he really just isn't able to put it all together again.
Well, I think if you were looking for a deal, it would just be trade him to a team that's is a younger team that might have some of these older point guards and just literally get a guy that can be a guy like I think of DJ Augustine, but I think DJ Augustine's too good of a point guard for this idea. But like a DJ Augustine who's been in the league, who knows how to run an offense, who isn't a negative, but who isn't like a massive plus either offensively or defense. He's just an average player
with an incredible true shooting percentage.
Yeah, but I mean again, DJ Augustine's too good of an example. But one of these guys that can step in, he can run an offense, he can be a leader, and with that that other team they get a young guy with all these extras that we have, this great defensive play, this ability to run an offense, hopefully up and coming shot, but also the ability to go off like he did. I mean, we look at the year prior too, right before he broke his face against Golden State, he was unreal. I mean, there's.
That's what I'm saying. We've seen flashes, we've seen signs. I want to continue to run and see if we can put together, because now we've got the most talented lineup we've ever had. Like, I don't want to ship off one of the guys who's actually been able to at times perform at that level.
I agree.
The only thing I think of is, like, I'm looking at the contracts right now, and if we gave him, because you said like a 2-year prove-it deal, right?
Yeah. Yep.
The only thing that would maybe make the waters a little murky is within those 2 years, so 2020 and 2021,
right?
You've got Otto Porter is coming up. He's got a player option in 2020, but he'll take it.
On that.
You think so?
Are you kidding me? Okay, everyone's got money and no one's got a person to spend it on. Otto Porter's going to be a 30 mil player.
Then that first year.
What year?
You're talking about after this season. He's got a player op.
Yeah.
So after the season, if he declines it, he's a free agent.
Is it 1 year?
Yes. It's for 28.4 mil.
Free agency.
How old is he going to be?
He'll be in his.
Well, if we're talking,
he's 26 now.
Okay,
yeah.
And what year would he? How old would he be?
He'd be 27.
Okay, 27.
Year.
Next free agency class.
So
there's no one in it.
And how old is Harrison Barnes currently? That would be the guy that I would look at, because Harrison Barnes had a very similar situation. He declined, but to take longer years, and he took a front loaded contract where he ended up making less money, I believe.
Overall, yeah.
But
Harrison
again,
Barnes is 27.
Yeah. So I mean, I think
Otto Porter's a better player and a better shooter.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's going to be dependent on this year.
Yeah.
Because we say that. I mean, it's not wrong. I mean, Otto Porter has had extremely efficient seasons.
And consistent.
Yeah, but
he's never consistently broken the glass ceiling.
Yeah, and I think with him too, it's just, is he just a 3-and-D player, or is he something else? And if he is just a 3-and-D player, then he's probably going to deserve a Harrison Barnes-like contract, where he gets but it's more consistent. Like Harrison Barnes when he signed with the Mavericks type of deal. Probably more money, because I think it was like 4 years, $52 million. I'm throwing that off the top of my head. It might be 470, or 480. I forget what it was, but it could be like a Harrison Barnes deal for when he went from Golden State to Dallas.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that's also interesting then is if he does decline after this year, that means we would have Otto Porter next free agency to think about what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Then the next free agency year is
a 4-year, $95 million.
Oh, fuck.
So then after Otto Porter,
they thought he was going to take the step.
The next offseason is Lauri Markkanen, RFA, but we're going to pay him. We're going to bring him back.
There's no reason we wouldn't, unless he's broken.
That's why you wouldn't. And then, if he's dealing with injuries, that would be the
And then after that is obviously Wendell the year after that, and then the Kobe White / Gafford, because I really want Gafford to play up to get a contract by that point. But like,
Carter's got to prove himself. Still, I mean, there's something set there. Yeah, I mean, well, that's why he's got to prove himself. I mean, he wasn't great when he was healthy, and he wasn't proving. I mean, he wasn't able to prove himself because he was injured. I mean, this is going to be technically his like real rookie year because he only played he played very limited amount.
And also the same year as Wendell, so 2 years. So it's Otto next year, then Laurie, then that Wendell year. Levine's contract is up. Yeah. Satoransky's contract is up. Thaddeus Young's contract's up. So that's kind of the big
But the free agency class is also spicy.
The main one on that one is Levine. Yeah. Because, I mean, there's no guarantee that Satoransky's going to work out or Thad Young's going to work out. And even then, they're going to be much older. Old. Yeah.
So last thing I was going to ask is, do you think there's any time this year Levine plays the point?
God, I hope not.
Do we see a lineup where it's like Levine at the point and they like maybe slide Satoransky to the 2, or if they're like, hey, you know what? For this game, let's try Kobe at the let's try Kobe at the 2 next to Levine.
You can call it the 2, but it's like air quotes 2.
I think if Satoransky and Levine are out there, then Satoransky is the point. Well, that's the thing. I think it's just the point. I think the only time that Zach would be a point guard or the 1 would be if Kobe's out there. Because I don't know if they trust him right away to do that, where they trust Zach.
And that's the thing. Like, I know Kobe's excellent at driving. That man is like lightning in a bottle. Like, you get him curling off a screen, and he can slash to the hoop, and he's there before you blink an eye. Like, that's the thing. Him and fast breaks, him and going to the hoop is fine.
Is it bad if he doesn't start a single? Like, I'm not going to say a single game because there'll probably be a game in there. But
he'll start.
But is it bad if Kobe White is not taking a majority starter role this year?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we're actually we're above average him to be 4 out of 5 positions.
Running the second unit.
It's
and then
really
next
just
year.
the question of Chris Dunn.
I mean, because the thing is the way that he starts is if Zach moves to the 1, or if Zach gets injured.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to take Zach out for Kobe White. It's not a bad thing on Kobe White.
Yeah.
When they took him, we weren't saying, oh, Kobe White should be the pick. Like, because we were saying they need a Ja Morant because he's a true point guard, or a guy like Cam Reddish who they can develop. I mean, I wasn't entirely sold on this whole Kobe White thing. I wasn't really a big fan of that when we were doing our mocks. So I mean, I didn't like the Kobe White. I didn't love the Kobe White pick when it was made, but I don't think it's a negative sign about him if he's not starting. Starting is just, that's the guys who are out there right away. It doesn't mean you're a great player. Or it doesn't mean you're one of the best 5 players. It just means you're not a fit in the first 5 players that are out there, which, again...
Look at Lou Will, look at Trez, like, starter is one thing, but, like, it doesn't mean a whole lot at the end of the day if you're going to get your 20-plus minutes.
If you are one of the 5 best players, there's going to be a way that they put you out there on the floor.
Yep.
And that might be at the end of the game when you need to be out there. Like, if it's a close game and Kobe White's out there, I think that's a better sign than him starting.
Absolutely.
So, just to put a kibosh on it, who's the starter for the Bulls? I'm going to say Satoransky's the starter, maybe Kobe White at the end, but it's probably going to be Tomas. I almost said Thomas. Tomas the whole way through.
I'll say Dunn to start, Satoransky to end.
I'm going to say Dunn to start and Dunn to end.
No, Archie Diacono to end, Dave. That's
my
the
boy
Dave
Archie.
We're going to have a lineup of Archie Diacono, Antonio Blakeney, Satoransky, Cristiano Felicio.
I was going to say, were you trying to name our... Because we've had
Luke
a lineup.
Cornett. That's going to be the starting lineup to end the season.
Why Satoransky? That's too good to be in that
say,
one.
yeah.
What about Hutchinson?
Hutchinson. There we go. Yeah. I couldn't think of another 3.
Hutchinson, we literally, Valentine.
Did we have a lineup?
Oh, yeah, Denzel Valentine. That guy sucks at basketball.
No, he's breaking out this year.
My God.
Breaking out.
So Archie, Blakeney.
What do we consider a breakout?
Well, I'll bet money.
Put a stat line on it, Dave.
Put a what?
Put a stat line of what you think the breakout would be, and if he achieves that, you win. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
All right,
and then you guys can put the parameters.
The cool thing
about
Denzel is he's actually doubled his stat line year to year, which is awesome.
He's played 2 years.
Exactly. He went from 5 points to 10 points.
He's also got to stay healthy.
2.5 rebounds to 4.5. He went from 2.6 to 5.1 rebounds. He went from 1.1 assists to 3.2 assists. Like, he's doubled his stuff in the minutes. Same thing. 17 to 27. Shooting percentages.
That's not double.
Shooting percentages got better as well. 35 to 38 from 3.
Jesus.
That's from 3.
Oh, okay.
That's really good.
I thought you meant from field goal.
No,
you said field goal percentage 35 to 38. Sorry. I was like, yikes, dude.
And the 38 is on just shy of 5 attempts a game, 41% from the field, which is not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world, considering half of his shots are coming from 3. So if he puts up I'm not gonna say he's got double his numbers again. He's not put up 20 points a game. I'm not that ridiculous.
They're gonna have 5 20-point.
But I am saying that
he's
if
also
he comes
sat
in
out
and
a whole year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am saying that if he comes out this year and puts up 13 points a game, I'll say he stays at like 13, 5, and 3. He just adds 3 points a game. I would be pretty impressed by him. I honestly would be really impressed if he could put up 13, 5, and 3.
So that's
How
your
old is he gonna
breakout.
be?
He will be 25. No, 26. He'll be 26.
All right. What are we counting as breakouts?
I think what
That's
Dave
not
just
really a
said.
breakout, but yeah. Like, that's not a really
If we're
a
saying a
breakout.
breakout on the team, I'll
So-
pick Sadaransky. I think Sadaransky could truly become.
He's got a really good chance for success,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who I would pick for a breakout. Like,
Where people actually know his name. It's not like, Wizard fans and then us clowns
I mean, yeah.
who do NBA
I knew
podcasts.
I knew his name early on, but that doesn't really count for anything.
You were first
I
on the
was-
Sado train.
Yeah, but I was also big on the Wizards before, like for literally no
Yeah.
logical reason.
so I got no stats to back this, but
Sure.
this is me hoping.
Chandler Hutchinson.
I would have loved to say him, but I can't say
I
it like
can't say him.
confidently.
Yeah.
You know who I think's gonna have a breakout year this year?
Whom?
The Gaff Daddy.
It's
Daniel
not a
Gafford.
breakout
That's a
year. He's a
rookie year.
rookie.
I think that he will play, and by breakout, it's just, and that's why I don't have any stats. It's just going to be one of like, man, we were really high on Gafford coming out of summer league, but it's like, damn, I didn't expect him to be this good, like that kind of a season for
Yeah.
Gafford, where it's like second round pick.
The way that
I know us, we kind of
Here.
thought that he could have been a first rounder.
to play devil's advocate. Well, one I did. Had him in the first round.
Yeah, he did.
Because I'm the smartest person on this podcast.
Unfortunately, he got made to look like a bitch in summer league by Jackson Hayes.
Top 10 pick.
Top 10 pick.
Top 10 pick.
I didn't have him above Jackson Hayes. But
I love him, but still, that was a moment. It was a whole game of moments.
with that,
Man has a family.
Mitchell Robinson, you could probably say broke out last year when he was a second round pick.
True.
And I think the way that it happens is if Gafford gets injured. Or not Gafford. Carter Jr. gets injured.
Again, yeah.
If that happens, then he could definitely take that next step.
Or if we don't see Cornette at all, like, which
I'm excited for him.
Do you think
He
he,
shoots
plays?
well.
Do you think he
He
plays
does.
the 5 or the 4? Because technically ESPN has him listed as the 4.
He's like 7 feet tall, isn't he?
he can do a little bit of both.
Right now they've got Cornette at the 4 and Cristiano as our backup
I would
center.
love if they
Cristiano's
went.
not a backup anything, but a G leaguer.
I'd love if they went big
He's
as
the highest
fuck
paid G leaguer in
and
NBA
put
history. I think.
Sato at the 1.
Uh-huh.
At the 2, you put Zach.
That's just big.
At the 3, you put Thad Young.
What? You're just fucking
At
with
the
it.
4, you put Luke Cornett, and at the 5, you put Wendell, or you put fucking
Gafford.
Yeah. That's
Gafford
it.
or Markin. I don't care.
Just go. What are we, the
Go
Kings here?
big.
We're the Kings now? Remember when they started 3 centers?
Did they? What was Billy Cauley-Stein, DeMarcus?
And no, it was literally last year. I think it was Bagley, DeMarcus. Not DeMarcus. I keep saying DeMarcus.
Bagley?
Whatever. They had 3 or 4 centers on the court at once, basically. And I know Bagley's
was
not
it
one,
Bagley,
but
Giles, and
Willie
Billy Cauley-Stein?
Cauley-Stein. And I want to say there was one other
Was
guy.
it Galizia out there? Galizia's like
No.
6'9".
He's only 6'9". Might have been Costa Kufis.
No. Ugh.
He's gone now.
Bagley at the 2?
I mean, I think he was playing a 3 for them. It was awful.
Yikes.
It was. I think it was like a Sacramento League game though. Like,
Remember
it wasn't
when,
even
like,
full on summer league.
Costa Kufis was supposed to be a bull. Like, he was in every trade
so
package.
close.
I don't remember
He was
for
so
what.
close.
But it was like, yeah, Costas Kufis is going to be a bull.
We should be excited.
I don't remember what I said 2 minutes ago, but I do remember Costas Kufis was almost a bull.
Any final thoughts on the point guard situation in Chicago?
Where's Costa Kufis? Can he play it?
He is going to
He's a former Ohio
another country.
Statian.
He's going to another country to play basketball right now.
Yeah. He's from the Ohio State University.
Is he
Timofey
really?
Mozgov's going overseas too.
Jeremy Lin looks like China.
Really?
I know there was the rumors about him going to play in Russia, but
He's going to
now
take
taking-
his NBA
Yeah.
ring
He's
and
not
go
that
over
bad.
to China.
I know that's the point. Like they offered, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm good." But now they're saying China, and maybe he'll half season China and come
You know
back.
who's going to be starting point
Is
guard for
Jimmer still in China?
Jimmer,
the... Jimmer was a warrior.
he was in the NBA.
I know.
left
A son. He was a
again.
son.
I thought
he was a
he-
son and a warrior though.
Yeah, but he was
I
a
thought
son,
he
and
was
then
on
he
a
got,
Regular
summer
season.
league team.
He was
and
on the
then-
summer league
Yeah.
team. Yeah,
he was garbage.
he was awful.
Jay Lynn isn't though. Yeah, that's who. Actually, I'm changing my pick. Starting point guard for the Bulls end of the season, Jeremy Lin.
We're going to sign him.
Pooh? You could
Shaq.
have said Pooh.
Shaq.
Shaq.
Is that Shaq? No, Walt Lemon. Is that
Walt
who you're talking about?
Lemon Jr.
I was
Put
like,
some
Shaq?
respect
I'm
on
like-
the name.
I'm like, why are we talking about Shaq Harrison? But no, Walt Lemon Jr.
Walt Lemon Jr. is basically the reincarnation of an older version of Derrick Rose, but also
I was about to
shorter
say,
and worse
I
in
thought
every
you
way.
meant actual Derrick Rose because you were saying poo, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Derrick Rose. I was like, but he's in
That would be
Detroit
amazing. For now.
for now.
Till Reggie gets
I was gonna
mad.
say, didn't we? Let's see. He wasn't in the Exodus that we had in Summer League, was he?
We might have gotten him back, though.
Shaq was released, and then they got Shaq back.
Yeah, it was just working contracts over.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that it was like during Summer League. It's like, why did we cut these two guys? It's like, oh, maybe to make room for some. But let us know what you guys think down below. Hope you liked this first edition of the Superfans here at MVP. It was a great first podcast. Sean's rubbing his eyes because he's tired. We're all going to go
It is
to bed.
9:47 p.m.
Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MostVal Podcast. Help us get a new studio. Help us make this the actual day job that we can do this because we love doing it for you guys each and every day. Also, follow us on Twitter at Schwarbo, at Dave_don't_tweet, at Ricky Widmer, and at Most Valuable Pod, and on twitch.tv/Most Valuable Podcast. I've been playing MLB The Show. We're going to be going to live shows sooner rather than later. We'll have an announcement about that. But thank you guys for
It
everything
just
you
happened.
do. Well, I mean, a live show where we'll be live on Twitch. But let us know what you guys think down below. I'm rambling because it's almost 10 o'clock at night, but have a good day, everybody.
I meant more about the announcement. That we're going to have an announcement. And I was like, you just announced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have one of those. There, go. Bye.